my point is you have the exact same logistical challenges with Bitcoin. But going back to your earlier point, getting the $10 million into XYZ country, you still have to have a bank account.
Mm.
And so you're still having to be a part of that system. And if you have multiple countries that are a part of a unified ledger, and one of those countries is your plan B country, then
Mm.
you got to scratch that one off the list, unless you can figure out a way to just live on the cash flow, literally cash flow, from that rental property or something like that. And a great point about the demand for oil being a lot higher just because of the utility value. It's just like me selling one of my gold coins that was worth $250, selling it for $150 just because I was broke and I needed to pay the hotel, and I didn't have a choice.
So I think I don't know what the solution is, but I think a solution, or at least the way that I'm viewing it, is that ahead of time, you need to have the railroad set up. And when I talk about the railroad, it's basically, for example, banking in multiple jurisdictions. We don't know which jurisdiction is going to go in which direction. On probability, we can see the likelihood of these things, and we can certainly see where there is bifurcation in the world, who's on, who has what biases in which direction. Okay. As a consequence, you can view that world from a macro perspective and say, okay, I want to have chips on the table. And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money to set up bank accounts in multiple jurisdictions and put a little bit of money in them, because there it's there, it's sitting there. Your ability to then move quickly in and out of those still exists. Will that always exist? Probably not, but it's a decent setup now, and it allows for one to have that capability when you need it, to put that in place. You can imagine if you had already had bank accounts set up in Argentina or maybe in Chile across the border or something like that, or even corporate entities. And I know people might think, oh, I can't do that. Yeah, it's not that bloody hard if you just pay attention and do some research. If you've got those things set up, your ability to then move in and out of the country is typically easier. And then, of course, the
You got to
second
get the
step beyond that
250.
is the cash flows. If you're going to be buying any assets, you want to typically try and get cash flows in those jurisdictions with whatever currency they're using in that particular place. So that's the stock and flow side of things. And then
But if
you
you've got
watch
that
how the world.
250 but if you got that 250 in a Wells Fargo account, then you still got to wire it down to the Argentinian account, and that still has to go through the system. So if Klaus is cock blocking you, for lack of a better term, then you can't take that purchasing power with you. That's what I'm trying to figure out, is how the hell do you take that purchasing power with you? So even if they don't like you, you can still give them the finger and say, look, as long as my passport's still valid, I can at least take this amount of purchasing power with me so I can survive the next 2 years and figure it out.